Welcome to Home and Away, a Tottenham Hotspur podcast hosted by myself, Graham Spice, and Glenn Cowie, where we discuss all things Tottenham Hotspur with both the match attending and international supporters view. Glenn, are you good?
I'm good. I'm not that hot in my office area at home, but I've been very hot today. It's been 41 degrees here, which is a bit warmer than you, mate.
Yeah, that's true.
Just by a few. Yeah.
We had snow overnight, as you know, your family's probably told you, and then there's rain, and then there's localised flooding. It's just been a really miserable weekend. And then I'd have been all right with the snow if it had hung around for a bit.
It never settles though, does it? It's never magical back home. Yeah, well, speaking of magical things, it wasn't a bad performance, but it certainly wasn't magical in that we got the win. But you were there, so it's the first one you've attended in a while, mate. So it is, and our listeners as well would be keen to hear how it was. How was the atmosphere? Who did you go with? Did you have a good time other than the result?
Yeah, actually, all things considered, I'd set my expectations like subterranean because I expected us to get an absolute tonking. And so actually I was very pleasantly surprised. I felt like, considering the amount of changes and the fact that even some of the players that played, we'll talk about it a bit in a minute, some of the players that played had been sick all week, and one of them at least played the full 90 minutes. Well, full 106 minutes, but we'll go into that a bit later on as well. And everyone who came on, with one notable exception, I don't like to pick anyone out, but I felt like Son came on and hid. He was on the pitch.
Yeah,
he was never showing for the ball. I was a bit disappointed with him as the captain. I felt like I was expecting more from him. Maybe he's one of the people that's been ill, but if that's the case, he should have said, if he felt that bad, he should never have gone on the pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And according to Ange, and we'll come back to that in a minute on the day and what you did and how it was, but according to Ange on the illnesses, Dragasine, who came off, I actually thought he was injured, but that wasn't the case. He was just absolutely knackered because he had been really ill. Yeah. So I guess that's a positive, right? At least he's not going to be out for Liverpool. Hopefully he's fully back.
I felt like anyone who was on the pitch was fair play to him, right? And anyone who came on who'd been ill during the week, hats off to those people, because they could have just said, no, I'm not ready. But they knew that we needed them, and they would sit on the bench and would come on and play if they were needed. And so if you're looking for togetherness in the squad and a bunch of players that are playing for their manager, I think you saw it yesterday.
I agree with that. And it's funny, Graham, I was coming in, for our listeners as well, I was coming into this episode, and I'm going to say something now. I think I've been as guilty as anybody else. No more talk about Ange getting fired, because I don't think it's going to happen. I think, like you just pointed out, I think the players are playing for him. I think we've had absolutely rotten luck with injuries, illness, suspensions, etc., etc., etc. Let's just get behind him. Like, he's been dealt a really shitty hand. Let's hope that we can get some players back and start to reward the good work that the younger players are putting in. Like you just pointed out, Son came on and wasn't great, but I don't know what your view on that is, but no more from me on Ange being fired. And I'll say that now, and then when we finish recording, he gets sacked, will he?
Yeah, sod's law. So I'll move back to the whole experience. So 12:30 kickoff, which means for me leaving home about 9:30, just to be on the safe side. How do I explain this to people who don't live in the UK? So it's only a 38-mile drive from my house to Tottenham, but it's round the M25. It's up the M3, which is currently roadworks the whole way, and then the M25, and then North London is obviously chaos on a match day. So it can take anything from an hour and a quarter to 4.5 hours. I've been before where I've left 4 hours before the game and turned up half an hour into the match and missed the 2 goals. So it's a really, you just can't predict the traffic. You can't. So anyway, I left at 9:30. I had a really easy journey in. I got there about 11. There's some, the other thing to note for people who don't go to the ground regularly, there's a parking exclusion zone for about 1.5 miles around the stadium. So you can't park anywhere near the stadium on the roads for free anywhere. So the only option is park outside of that and walk even further, or to find a car park that is charging to park on a match day. And there's a few on industrial parks, like people use the industrial park parking and they'll sell you parking. It's about average is about 20 quid.
Yeah.
If you park close to the stadium, it's 30 quid. So like, my legs still work fine enough that I don't want to spend the extra 10 quid. That's that paid for a pie or something.
Yeah.
So got to the stadium. I met my friend Alex, who he's a colleague of mine from work. He's a big football fan, not a Tottenham fan, but I have to say I think I might be winning him over a little bit, because every time he comes, it's some huge drama, and the game's always entertaining. So he was really grateful to come with me, and we had we had a pie before the game. At first time I've had a pie in the new stadium. Actually, that was a decent pie.
I've heard the food's pretty good in there. I've never eaten it. Yeah, I've been to say I've not eaten there, but the food's meant to be pretty good.
It wasn't. We planned to, because originally I planned to get the train, but there was a bus replacement service, so that was even more unreliable than driving. So I thought I'd. So we were going to stop at my usual place on the way down from Seven Sisters, Hot Bob.
Yeah.
Shout out to Hot Bob for the best smash burgers in North London. But obviously, because I drove coming from a different direction, so I met him at the stadium, and then we just went in, had a pie. Very, very pleasantly surprised. I can't remember what it's called. It's called something. They make it sound like they've invented the beef and onion pie, but clearly they haven't. But it was decent, and I'd give it probably an 8 out of 10. That was definitely. I felt robbed. It wasn't super expensive, and it wasn't bad. So that was good. So we sat down probably about 20 minutes before the match. The Newcastle players, their training tops, it looked like they were trying to camouflage a tank from the air. Their training kit's is really weird. You cannot see anything on it. It's super odd. So that was really weird.
Their kit is a nod to that shirt they had in like the late 90s, isn't it? Because they had Les Ferdinand and Alan Shearer as pundits on Optus Sport here. And the presenter gifted both of them with a retro one of that with their name on the back from when they played of Newcastle. And then Les Ferdinand was a bit...
The burgundy.
Yeah, the burgundy, yeah. And Les Ferdinand's quite funny. He was a bit sheepish about accepting it because he goes, well, they're playing Spurs and I'm actually a Spurs fan. Like, yeah, I play for Newcastle, but...
It was,
yeah.
My friend Alex said it looks like I can't remember which era, but it looks like the Germany away shirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's quite interesting. But yeah, so things I can tell you from within the stadium, the Geordies sing the whole match. They were right below me.
They've always been
correct. Yeah. And then the match was decent. We can go through the details in a minute. I have a great dislike for teams that spend the entire second half of a match feigning injury and delaying the match. I mean, it's not just this is beyond the dark arts. This is like I think they added on 6 minutes in the first half.
Yeah,
10 minutes.
10. But then they gave an additional 2 at the end of second because even at the start of that 10, they were feigning injury again.
Yeah, exactly. And it was obvious to me that it was just they were being told to do this. This is part of their plan to disrupt matches. And so, I didn't think they were very good or they played very well. I think the first goal, we'll probably cover that now. It absolutely is a handball by any measurement for me.
Well, you asked me, because you're in the stadium, I'm watching on TV, you said, it was that handball, and I was quite measured with my response to you on WhatsApp. I said, it was, and it changed the direction of the ball and you've seen them given, in the sense that, have they gained an advantage from that? Yes, I don't care where Joe Linton's hand is. No. It doesn't matter to me, or it shouldn't have mattered to the ref, right? Or VAR, in the case, whatever it was. The ball had altered direction and had changed trajectory because of his hand touching it, and that benefited them and they scored. Therefore, no goal.
Like two exhibits to add to that where we've come across from exactly that would be Eric Dyer, the ball hitting him from behind and then give him a penalty. Was it West Ham?
I think you remember the Lucas Moura one.
And Lucas Moura, who'd been pushed out on the floor, and then it
Sheffield United away, Sheffield United away was pushed over, fouled, and his hand touched the ball.
Yeah. So like we just always seem to be on the wrong side of a rule change, like the Champions League final, right? So the ball, It's like we just no one's. I thought it was interesting that it was I can't remember if it's the 20-year anniversary or it's the anniversary of that ridiculous goal disallowed at Man United.
That is the 20 years, because I've been married. Yeah, I've been married 20 years, and that was when Lindsay and I first moved. She moved to England with me, and we got married November 2004, so it was January 2005.
Yeah,
and we watched at my mum's, so that would be right. Yeah,
and it was 20 years to the day that the previous ridiculous referee fiasco
when Roy Carroll's clawing it out of his fucking
from about 2 yards behind the goal line. Yeah, unbelievable.
Very, very poor, and it was really disappointing because, of course, it came off the back of a really good start as well in the context of
absolutely cracking first goal.
Yeah, imagine ball by Porro. Well, right. What's gone overlooked a little bit of that goal, because there's been a few pundits having a review of it post game here, was the ball is delicious, but Bergvall's run.
He's run and drive with the ball through midfield.
Correct.
He had a really great game. He was a real positive influence on the match.
Absolutely he was. And I don't know, mate, not comparing the two like for like, but Maddison doesn't really give you that, does he? You know, doesn't grab the game by the scruff of the neck and run it and really drive forward with it. So that was the other part of that goal. And then obviously Solanke getting on the score sheet. Of course, I've just taken Solanke out of my fantasy team and he scored. So that's that.
Let's put him in.
Good work.
I managed to get him and Palmer in for getting rid of Haaland. Of course, he's scored 2 now. As soon as you take
Haaland's
him out.
back, Haaland's back. But what did you make of the goal that we conceded, the second goal? I mean, no complaints in terms of offside or anything like that, but all defending for you? I thought Smith had done a bit better.
I mean, it's hard to. When was the last time we had to settle back for with the right players? I mean, I feel like every goal we concede should have a little asterisk next to it at the moment. It's just, I don't know, it was unfortunate.
Ironically, though,
it was bad defense, but
it was poor defending. But ironically, once the natural centre back went off, and it ended up being Spence and Clay, Spence did all right.
He did.
He did really well, I thought.
I think he reads the game better than Dragusin does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, Dragusin's really handsy. He grabs players a lot, right? And I think he's going to get into trouble for that in certain areas of the pitch.
We talked about this before, but I remember that from Euro 24. I watched a few of the Romania games, and he was handsy.
But I thought Spence did really well. I thought the opportunity. He's a bit like Romero, right? In that he'll look up and they'll either play a ball or he'll run out with the ball. He'll bring the ball out of defence, which gives us an opportunity to break the lines for Newcastle quicker. And that, for me, we're at our best when we look forward and we play the ball forward quickly. It doesn't have to be like a massive counter, but we draw people in. If you've only got to look at the goal kicks, right? We've got 2 defenders in our box waiting to receive the ball. We've got 2 Newcastle players pressing right on the edge of the box. So they're committing players up the pitch. So if we can play the ball forward, we're already got a numerical advantage elsewhere on the pitch. And I feel like that's really the way that we have to break the press, because people will do it against us because they know we're going to play up in the back like that.
Absolutely, and speaking from playing out from the back, I thought the lad Brandon Austin did really well. I mean, don't underestimate that, right? Coming in for your first start, Premier League, 60,000 people. I mean, I thought at times he was better than Vicario in terms of commanding in his box and coming to get the ball.
What else?
He looked really good.
What else I really liked about him was his ball distribution was good. So not just like short passing out to his defenders, but there were times when the defenders were being pressed and there wasn't an option on, and he would play a longer ball to Solanke, but it wasn't just a massive punt.
It was bumped.
It was like a chip ball that would hold up. So Solanke it's a few times Solanke either got a knock on or was able to control the ball, and we'd made progress up the pitch again without, struggling to break through the press.
And this is a nice segue. Something I also picked up on with Austin was every time he caught the ball, every time he made a save, or the crowd were really behind him.
Yeah.
Now, what was your read on the crowd as a whole? Right? Is there a division with Ange? Is there hate to Levy? Was there much booing like when we lost the game, or is the crowd getting behind them? Like, how did you read the atmosphere?
I felt that it felt really positive, probably the most positive it's felt. I mean, considering it was a loss at home, right?
Yeah.
I thought the atmosphere was pretty positive. I think, like a lot of people like me, came with very low expectations.
I'm probably going to get
and saw a bunch of players who played their hearts out for the whole match. And we were woodwork away from an equaliser. I thought...
Well, we had that one big time, which I was pulling my hair out when Reggie he saw red, really, didn't he? Just completely smashed it across the 6-yard box. Where it was like Solanke had dropped off. And I don't know if you've seen the highlights of Match of the Day, but Solanke actually takes just about half a step backwards to make an easy ball for him, and he just pings it like just right across everybody, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, it's so frustrating. In one of the chances, and we did play really well, and everyone put a shift in, but when Reggie, when he just blasted it across the 6-yard box, and Solanke had, it was a very subtle step backwards. It was like half a yard step, and it was almost like, just give it here. He just needed a little shunt back, like a little pullback, and Solanke was there, and he didn't choose that. He chose to just, I don't know what he chose. He just went a bit mental, and it was like chance gone. That was really frustrating.
I thought that he actually had a pretty positive contribution in the second half when he came on, though. He's one of those players you'd have to say, like, can you imagine you basically frozen out of the squad, and then they don't care about you, and then all of a sudden they need you. He could very easily have just said, no, you're right, couldn't he?
Yeah.
But all the times he's come on, he's looked like, you know what? I'm going to show you what you're missing.
Yeah.
And there's a player in there still, and I think realistically, right, he's going to go at the end of the season. So, but if he plays a few games while we're still recovering from injuries, then fair play to him. That's a real professional. So
I wouldn't disagree with that. And look, as we touched on, you were there, and I think we've officially crossed over now in terms of over the halfway point of the season, right?
Yeah, we have.
I mean, realistically, we touched on this in the previous episode, but it's like, is the league a write-off now in terms of where we can finish? I mean, what's a win for you? Top 8, top 7? I mean, do you think we're 24 points, 5th is 35 points? I mean, I think if we can get top 8, top 7, we'd probably be happy, wouldn't we?
I think that let's set ourselves a goal of being in Europe next season.
Now, and would you take it however that's done?
Yeah.
So
I hope if we finish top half and we win the Europa League, I will not be disappointed with that.
Oh,
if we win the League Cup and we're in the, does that get us into Europe now? I can't.
Europa, yeah, I guess Europa, yeah.
So again, so like either of those options, or the FA Cup, any of those options, plus respectability in the league. That's all I'm looking for. Is that what we need to show is when we have our full team out, that we're better than the results that we've been showing, and we can show then that this was all down to circumstance, not down to the way we play and the players that are playing it.
And I've really been reflecting on this quite a bit in terms of, and I say I'm not going to say about Ange getting the boot, but I'll mention it in a different way. In that, the more I reflect on it, the more absurd it really is. Because if I think about if I'm doing my job on a daily basis or a weekly basis, and let's say 4 out of the 5 day week, my boss takes my laptop from me, takes my phone from me, and gags me, right?
Gives you an Etch-a-Sketch and a walkie-talkie.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to be a bit hamstrung, right? I'm probably not going to be giving him the output he needs. So if I put it in that term, it's like, well, like you say, how can we really judge the guy on the shit that's happened? It's been a fucking nightmare. So let's just get behind him. Let's get behind him. Let's get behind the team, and let's just hope for brighter days ahead. And with that said, we just talked about Brandon Austin. Now, I was surprised that this happened so quickly, but it looks like we signed a goalie, and you've done some research.
I did some chat GPTing is what I did. Yeah, Kinski. So
I've never heard of him, and so
I think this is another sign of the way that Lang works, right? You can read what the hell you want in the press, but nobody saw this one coming until the morning that it was announced that he was going to be in the UK having a medical. So that's, for me, I'm really happy if that's the way we do business, as long as it's happening. The thing here with the supporters is we want to see it happening, but that's not in the best interest of the club to get the best deals and to get the best players. So we're going to have to, it's going to be like this, I think. We won't know it's happening until it's already happened, which is a bit frustrating, but I don't care as long as, but when the window closes at the end of January, if we've signed 2 or 3 players that are going to make the squad better, or all the first team better, if where possible, then that will be a good window, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know anything about him, so obviously I went full Danny Rose on it again.
Slavia Prague, right, is where we're getting him from.
Yes, yeah. So he's the son of the former Czech international goalkeeper Antonin Kinski, apparently. He's played at youth. I think all out to under 21 at international level. I think he might have had his debut for the full Czech team as well. He's played for Slavia Prague. What else? He's recognised for his agility, shot-stopping abilities, and composure under pressure. He's proficient with the ball at his feet,
which is important.
Yeah, aligns well with modern goalkeepers' role, fitting seamlessly into teams that emphasise building play from the back. So that's like, well, he feels like if Ange was writing a job description for a goalkeeper, this feels like a pretty 100% match.
And he's obviously 7 years younger than Vicario. He's just about an inch shorter to the close to the same height. So interestingly, he's got stats. So was he Slavia Prague? Had he been loaned out then? Okay, so he was a Dupcic, Slavia Prague. Okay, so Slavia Prague mainly he's played 29 games. I assume that's this season. Okay. Have they been in Champions League? Oh, no, they're in Europa League. So would he be top-tied for Europa League? Or can he play in that?
Depends if he played for them or not in those matches, I guess.
It looks like he did, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it worked, if after the league portion's done, then it just resets and he can just play the knockout. So does that for you, it sounds like he's been brought in on a 5-year deal, so that's competition for Vicario, not just a number 2.
Yeah.
So does that spell the end for Forster? And then we go Vicario, Kinski, Austin as our 3?
I actually think, well, here's the issue in my view on this, right? Yeah, I'm really pleased to have a really good goalkeeper come in to provide competition for Vicario. But the issue with our goalkeepers isn't whether they're any good or whether they're going to play or not. It's the squad, the different squads. Yeah. The issue is Forster's English, Brandon Austin and Alfie Whitman are both homegrown.
Yeah.
Which is why they're both in the Europa League squad, because we needed them there to meet the quota. Kinski isn't. So if Kinski replaces any one of those 3 players, we're down a homegrown player.
Right, okay. And then we'd have to go and backfill that with another homegrown signing in, I guess, another position.
The only thing I can think of is that maybe one of the under-21s becomes a homegrown, home-trained player next season. Like, Lancashire, for instance.
Yeah.
Because he'll be old enough to have to be a first-team player. And I think he'll qualify as 5 years. I think maybe that's the 5th year. So yeah, maybe it's something like that. Maybe they're playing 4D chess and we're just missing the moves.
So So looking ahead then, and we've obviously we'll talk about the Liverpool game. Maybe it's a nice entry into that. Do we think Kinski plays in that game then, if all the paperwork's done?
I don't know whether it be done in time, but here's the next thing is ignoring Kinski for the time being. If Forster is well enough,
because according to Adge, he was by far it sounded like he was patient X. Like he was 100% the hardest.
I jokingly said on X earlier in the week is I think Mikey Moore must be patient zero. He's been out for months. But the question is, even if Forster is well enough to start, does he get back in front of Brandon Austin? Because Brandon Austin suits the style of play better than I think Forster does. And it's not that I have a problem with Forster. I think he's actually come in and done a really decent job for us, apart from that one game where he had a couple of brain farts. The rest of the time, he's actually been quite good. But actually, Brandon Austin is better with his feet and his distribution better. So does that match us better for a game against Liverpool? I don't know. It's difficult to say. I don't know if Kinski, as you say, if he could be registered in time and he could play. I don't know whether do we need to re-register the squads? We do, don't we? For the Europa at least, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So you can have I think it's 3 changes.
Yeah.
So maybe we do have him instead of one of the other goalkeepers, and we just have one less player in the squad or something.
Yeah. So looking across the rest of the team for the Liverpool game, you've mentioned. So we've got Maddison and Sarr. So they've got a suspension to serve, have they?
Yeah, from the last game. They had 2 yellows in the tournament so far. I think whatever it is, the rules. So we're
Maddison, those Sarr. So you're back to Basuma, Bentancur, you would assume,
and either Kulu or Bergvall.
On the performance, Bergvall deserves a start, in my opinion.
So then, if you put Bergvall there, do you play? It's Kulu or Johnson.
Johnson was pretty anonymous, wasn't he, against Newcastle? I thought. Maybe you saw it differently. You were there, and obviously the TV shows you what the TV shows you. So when you're at the game, and I know where our season tickets are, you're higher up, so maybe you have a different view on that. But for me, he looked a bit anonymous.
What I will say about him is, I worry that he's not an end player. I just don't think we play. I actually think that Porro was more effective on that side.
Yeah,
but it's almost like Johnson's job was just to drag players out of position so that Porro could get around the outside and get crosses in. But that being a decoy is not a very fulfilling role as a footballer. But I mean, you can't knock the fact that the guy's a top scorer with 11 goals this season, right? So his output's good, but he does have games where I think he's a little bit anonymous. I think it depends on who we're playing and how they set up. We didn't really get in behind them that often.
Yeah, I was about to say that. His game is often getting in behind, isn't it? It would be interesting to see if he starts him against Liverpool. But Werner, for me, I mean, Son came on, as you pointed out, didn't do a great deal. But Werner, again, I mean, there was a few occasions against Newcastle. I mean, I don't want to say shit.
Really effective to get him around the outside and get across it. For someone else, as long as he doesn't have to shoot.
Yeah.
I don't know who put him on corner duties, but he should never touch corner again, ever.
Well,
I would rather get the ball boy to take it than have him do it.
It almost the worst corner of time ever ended up being the pre-assist to the assist that we scored from.
Yeah.
But it was absolutely appalling. So, yeah, I mean, and you would hope to see Dragerson over illness, Gray.
I would just. Gray's the one for me. Like the kid can do no wrong in my eyes. I mean, he's 18. He's a midfielder. He's been playing centre back for about 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Not only that, but he's been doing a decent job, and he's growing into that role as well. And also, he was one of the ones that was the most sick in the last week, and yet he played the full match, like about 106 minutes of football. Didn't come off. He was really solid, and like, fair play to the kid. He's as far as I'm concerned, he's absolutely written in pen on the team sheet for
Yeah,
whatever role that will be. But you want people like that around the team, right? People who will stand up and be counted when it's needed. We haven't got enough.
well, hopefully when we get Romero and Van der Ven back and we start to get some more numbers in defence, he will, on the basis of what he's done there, hopefully he's earned himself a starting spot as number 6, right, in the midfield role where his natural position is.
I think you're right. With a settled team, that it will be good that he gets time. I don't think it will happen this season. I think we'll continue to have some form of disruption and he'll end up playing fullback or whatever. But I would hope he gets to play more in his preferred role. Maybe it might come as late as the pre-season, like to see him play there more frequently. Because the issue we had with last year's pre-season was, not all of our defenders never came back from the international tournaments. And he ended up playing in a central defender or as a fullback then as well. So Andrew's never really had a run of games to see him playing in midfield. So let's hope that changes at some point in the near future. But yeah, a absolute hero in my mind. The kid can do no wrong for me.
No, he's been fantastic, a bit of a revelation really. So as we look ahead to Liverpool, they've got Man United in the league, which is
today, isn't it?
Early hours of the morning for me. So I might, as odd as it sounds, I might actually catch a bit of it because I've got to get up and get to the airport at ridiculous o'clock. So I might watch the first half. It's 3:30 in the morning. It kicks off here. We've got to leave about 4:45. So if I'm up, I might just watch it. So they've got Man United, but they're not interesting. I guess it's not. Is it interesting? Everything's going their way in the league, isn't it? In terms of Arsenal drop points.
Yes.
So
Chelsea.
if they beat Man United, if they beat Man United, Chelsea did too. So if they beat Man United, they're 8 points clear, and they've got a game in hand, right?
Yeah.
So it begs the question. I'm not saying they're not going to take the League Cup seriously. I think once you're in the semi-final, any team does. But will they look at that and say this is an opportunity to mix it up a little bit? And then they've got Accrington Stanley on Saturday, and then they mix it up further there. Is it going to be an opportunity for them to give some big players a rest, beat us, beat Accrington, and does that play into our hand a little bit that we don't have the luxury of anyone being rested? We're playing who we're playing, and this is a competition that we really, really need. I don't know.
But I think Ian made a good point in the last pod that we recorded with him, which is that this League Cup is a great flag to plant in the ground for a new managerial team.
Yeah.
So you've seen it with Pep, you've seen it with other managers where they really take this seriously, because if you get this under your belt in February, or whenever the final is, but beginning of March, I think we said it was, didn't we? Early March?
Mid-March.
Yeah, so that it's important. It shows that you've got first silverware, you can kind of take a bit of a breather then, that you've done something.
Bit of a marker. That's what Mourinho did that at Chelsea, didn't he? Yeah.
And not that we would know, but that kind of winning breeds, so, more winning. It's it's something I struggle with, obviously.
I can see it going. Yeah, I can see it going either way, to be honest, in terms of they might just go strong, get it done, do what they did to us in the league, and then they move on to the final because they beat us at Anfield. Or if it does go the other way and they rest a few, I don't know. We're getting into predictions now. I've said all along, I think I don't know how, I don't know why. I've just got this nagging feeling we're going to win the League Cup. But obviously we need to beat Liverpool first. So I don't know. I just fancy us to have a tight home win, like a 2-1 or a 1-0 or something in the first leg, and go to Anfield with something to play for. And have we got the cojones and the capability? And by the time February 8th comes around, we might have some players back. Can we actually go there and grind out a 1-1 and then go for an aggregate? I don't know. Maybe I'm pie in the sky, mate, but I don't know. I can see it. Maybe our season turns on that.
I could see a reverse. I could see us getting a draw in the week, and then maybe going away and nicking a odd goal win. Which would be it's the kind of thing that we do. The amount of two-legged games where we've kind of, it's like I was thinking about like the Man City two-legged Champions League game. Where for some reason cup fixtures over 2 legs, we seem to really have something. I don't know what it is.
Wow.
It's like we're a weird team that we've always been a cup team. Really has been out, the mainstay of the successes we've had over the decades has been we've been a very good cup team, and we've had very few league aspirations in comparison. Right. So it's weird. I think it just maybe some teams are just built that way, like the mentality of a team, or I don't know. I've got, as you say, you've been absolutely nailed on that we're going to win it this year, and I've been a bit more cautious. But I've got, it would not surprise me that we would have, we would finish 10th, but we would beat Man United, Man City, Liverpool, and Arsenal to win the League Cup. It would just be about as Spurs as you could possibly think of, wouldn't it? It would be proper fairy tale stuff. But yeah,
no, absolutely. And you were just obviously there yesterday for Newcastle, but you're going to be in the semi-final.
No, not this time. I've got other plans. Something I'd already organised in advance, unfortunately, but I will probably be able to watch the game. So I'm looking forward to that. And then we'll do another recording next week, I think.
For our listeners, we're going to do another episode post Liverpool and before Tamworth, because Tamworth is Sunday lunch, isn't it? UK, because that's night time for me up in Queensland. It'll be 10:30 at night. I think it's at 12:30 p.m, but on a Sunday, not a Saturday.
And you're in a different time zone.
So Queensland don't do daylight saving, so they're an hour behind us. So yes, it's actually quite pleasant. So last night's game, if I was in Queensland, wouldn't have been an 11:30 start, it would have been a 10:30 start, and that extra hour just makes such a difference, because you're not going to bed at fucking 1:30, you're going to bed at 12:30.
Well, if Newcastle are playing, it would have been 2:00 in the morning, right?
Oh, and honestly, when he put the 10 minutes up, I knew I had an early start, and I was like, oh God, I could do without this.
Exactly thinking the same. I really want to get home at some time. I was hoping to get home in the daylight, but that was absolutely not the case.
No, indeed. Well, good stuff, mate. I didn't have anything more. We are, as we mentioned offline, we're working on another guest from somewhere in Africa, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd someone lined up for today. Ebrima, who's in Gambia, was going to join us today, but he's travelling and he's currently in another country where internet is governed by the military government, and that, I think it leads to pretty piss poor performance. So rather than risk a really crappy recording, we said we'd reorganise for when he's somewhere a bit more stable. Although the last time I tried to get him on to record, there was a power failure and everything was down, so he's not having a lot of luck. I think that's one of the trials and tribulations of following Tottenham from Africa in some of the countries. Yeah. So, but fair play. We will get him on. He's from the Gambia Official Supporters Club, so looking forward to having him in the near future.
Yeah, looking forward.
We have a few more people lined up. So anyone else who would really like to either come on themselves or recommend someone who know would be a good guest, please reach out. I'll leave the email and Twitter contact details at the end of the pod, and you can reach out to us, and we'd be more than happy to speak to anybody. I think
please do.
One of the things that sets us apart from some of the other podcasts is that we really want to hear stories from people from all around the world about how you ended up suffering like us.
Yeah, how did you end up in the hurt box?
What did you do?
Yeah, indeed. Well, good stuff. I'll close this out with, as always, come on you Spurs.
You can contact us on email at tottenhamhomeandaway@gmail.com or on Twitter X @TottenhamH&A.
Let me be the one that you turn to, someone you can rely on, closer each day.